Hi everyone, Isabel Hunt here, and for those who don't know me, I am a professional certified coach as well as public speaker and author of my book, The Power of Faith-Driven Success. As you can hear, I have a little bit of a cold, so my head is a bit cloudy, and I also have to get out of town. Oh no, sorry. I keep hitting it. And I also have to get out of town a little bit for the rest of the week, but I still wanted to check in. I wanted to continue the commitment that I've made every Wednesday to be live on my Facebook page or my personal page. So I'm glad you are watching this video. When you do, as always, the replay is available, because today I want to talk with you about how to become a successful empath entrepreneur. The problem is, or as you know, or as you may know, I work with a lot of empath as well as empath warriors that I call empath warriors. And the significance about empath is that we're highly sensitive towards what's going on around us. There are a lot of needs that need to be covered for us to really be effective and to be present with other people. And the other thing is, empath in the current situation of our world are very important. Empaths are known to be healers of some sort. That could be water healers that we have heard, people who are very much connected to nature, and other people really have healing skills, gifts. And so it is really important for us to take a look at how a lot of us want to be entrepreneurs, but we don't know how. The thing is, when we're in the workplace, we also get totally overwhelmed because there's a lot of emotions and a lot of things that are coming our way, and it's really hard sometimes to distinguish between what is ours and what is someone else's. So if you're highly sensitive, then this is definitely a session for you. So that means if you suffer from depressive phases, for example, if you suffer sometimes from anxiety or panic attacks, if you feel like you're taking on the burden of the world, even though you don't want to, maybe you just want to hide behind the couch, never come out again, but you also have this really strong urge to get out and have a message and to change the world, and you just don't know how. You get really stuck in your head. So if that is you, and you really want to feel this urge to start a business, then you definitely need to watch this. What I have realized over the last 5 years, and when I started out as an entrepreneur, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a new country. For those who don't know, I moved from Germany to the US. I'm in a new country and I don't even know how business works here. I knew how to do it in Germany, but not here. Now all the strategies to be successful, and I also had a little baby at that time, and I just was totally overwhelmed. So what I did, I literally didn't just spend money on my training as a coach, but I also spent over $50,000 in training from some gurus that promise you 6 figures in 6 months or 6 figures in 3 months, and I don't know what else. And I signed up for all of them. I signed up for programs, and I went through a whole thing like, if you want to have clients, you need to create an online coaching program, which totally sucked. It went totally downhill, and there were so many times where I just sat here and got really angry at things and how things worked. I didn't make any money, and there was nothing for me that really kept me motivated. And one thing that I want to tell you, it's kind of funny, I do have a little bit of a temper sometimes when I get in this stage of overwhelm and frustration. I totally admit that. Happens, right? So I actually have a filing cabinet right here, and there are some, well, red streaks on it too from books. Yeah. So tell me. So that's what happened when just things didn't work out. Sometimes I sat here for hours and hours at night and tried to figure out why things just didn't work, and for everyone it seemed to work, but not for me. So for those who are highly sensitive, this is probably why it doesn't really work for you too. I have experienced that with all of my clients, really, that didn't know where to start. Here's the thing, if you're an empath entrepreneur and you identify as such, cut all the programs. I'm telling you, cut all the programs that you want to sign up. And the first thing for me that I really had to go through was inside. I had to understand what was going on emotionally, what were my gifts, how do I work? And I had to learn to really listen to my intuition. So every time there's something coming up for me that sounds really interesting, I'm like, oh, this sounds like a great program. I'm not signing up right away. I'm giving me at least 24 to 48 hours, and I meditate over it, and I really tune in with myself. And you can even really do it with muscle testing and really understanding what your subconscious mind, your soul, your heart is really telling you what works for you and what doesn't. So I had to practice and to train myself through this time. I really had to sit down like, okay, I know I want to make money now, but I knew if I don't go through this stage of really understanding who I am as an empath and how I react to certain things and what my stories are behind certain things. What is my story? That's another thing. Then I would just go in this vicious cycle over and over, and I would lose tons and tons of money. As I said, at 50,000, I pretty much stopped, because then my husband was like, okay, we're still paying off your coaching training. Could you just somehow make some money? And I'm like, okay, I need to stop. Something needs to change. I need to trust. And that is something that I had to learn. So if you are an empath entrepreneur and you're feeling stuck, stop buying into all the programs and go really back to the roots of who you are and the foundation before you make any decisions. You will see in the long run, you will make more effective decisions, you will make faster decisions, and you will be so much more successful because you can speak from your heart and you can choose from your heart, knowing that this is all in service of a greater good and a benefit to you, okay? And that is really, like, the guru systems are great, I'm not saying, but anything else, but really for empath, for the highly sensitive entrepreneur, it usually does not work. And also one thing, we can't power through. Like, we always hear that you need to hustle and hustle, hustle. No, this does not work for you either. Hustle sometimes means to get and take a step back and just don't do anything. You need to stay sane for your own good, for your own health, but also the people that you want to impact. So there is a balance. There's a very fine balance between all of this. And this is something that you really, really have to understand and to know as an empath entrepreneur. Another thing that I want to talk with you about quick is finding your message. People always say, your story is your message. Your story is what creates your business. And the problem is, however, with empath, here's another thing, as we know, we're very driven by emotions because we're taking on everyone else's stuff and crap and don't even understand. Like, yeah, there's just a lot, okay? And so stories are connected to emotions. Stories work because they're connected, they trigger emotions in other people so they can resonate with them. And the thing is, you have so many different emotions inside of you that you take on that it is really hard to identify which story is actually really yours. And I've seen that with pretty much all of my clients that I work with, as well as with myself. I started to create stories and I feel like I lived that story, but not really. And that's because I identified certain emotions from other people with certain things that happened in that moment in my life. I thought that was me, and so I created a story around it, which was not me. It was not unique story to me. It was not me. It was not mine. Okay, so when you are in that process of, okay, I want to create a business as an empath or an empath warrior, but there's so many thoughts in my head, so many stories. Step away from the stories. Your story of your life is not what defines you. Okay? Especially not as an empath. That will come. It will come, I promise, it will come. But when you start out, it's not working. Trust me, it's not. So what I always do with my clients is I work them through, again, understanding who they are, and they start to learn how to separate what they feel and what is actually other people's stuff, and then being able to let go of other people's stuff. And then we're taking a look at their gifts. The focus as an empath is on your gifts, not your story. Your gifts is what will make your business successful, okay? For example, my gifts are intuition, communication, speaking. Those are my gifts. And I'm drawing blank. I'm telling you, this head cold is getting to me. But either way, like, those are gifts. I am also an activist. Like, I consider myself activist and really passionate. Those are really my gifts. I know how to communicate with people. I see colors around people. That's another gift of mine. I understand, I can feel energy on a very high level, okay? Those are gifts that I have, and I now implement those into my business and turn out. Now I'm working with Empath Warriors and young adults on the general topic emotions, which goes very deep into different topics. But another client of mine, we just talked about in our session, her gift is communication, writing. What else did she say? Intuition as well. Obviously, I work with highly intuitive people, right? So there are a couple things, and then she's like, oh my gosh, now I have all those ideas and what I can do with that. She really wants to get into ministry, so we talked about that. How can you get a different twitch on all of that? And how can you use your gifts in that? And from there, you can create your business. Obviously, what I'm just telling you is the start as an empath. So with that, finding your message, take a look at your gift, not your story. Your story is not what defines you. Your gifts are. Cut back all the guru systems that just overwhelm you. Stop adding anything crazy to your website. Stop thinking about all the funnel work and all the other stuff. It will come, I promise, but you need to stop it because the general understanding of business does not work for you, okay? So those are the things. Start out with really taking a step back and creating the foundation deep down and understanding what is me, what is someone else's. Is this really what I need? Is it in alignment with who I am? Does it really work for me? So that was the summary in brief, what I just talked about for, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you have any questions, we have a group. It's called World Visionaries United because most empath and empath warriors have a broader vision for their life as well as for the world. We don't just work for us, we work for everyone, for a greater good. And that is our heart understanding that this is true for us, and that's why we have to work in a little different way. And that's why we get overwhelmed easier and faster too. So World Visionaries United is a Facebook group, is a Facebook group that I have where we're all pretty much empath and where I share more tips and an understanding and more tools, especially throughout the week that can really support you, especially as an empath entrepreneur, but also just as an empath warrior, someone who's highly sensitive. You don't even have to be an empath. You can always join us. Again, if you have any questions, send me a message, comment here, join us. You can look at my website, isabelhunt.com. If you have any questions, there's more to find. I think my book is really great too as a foundational work to understand who we are and how our heart and brain work together. So it's more of the science behind it and the spirituality combined. I think it's a great foundation. But again, if you need any support, let me know. Really, that's why I'm here. That's why I do the work. And that's why I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about. All right, have a great Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. And I will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.